Hello, this is Angela Williams, and I'm the leader of the Lifestyle Changers team. And I wanted to shoot this really quick training video about how to adjust your W-4 form. I am going to post this document. This document is the Common Tax Deductions Packet, and it also includes the 2016 W-4, which is the most recent W-4 that is available. So you can download that to your computer and you can print out just the W-4 page for your own purposes, or you can ask for a W-4 form from your HR department. I'm also going to include the tax advantages flyer. Please don't post these on your page. If you want to send them to a prospect, send it to their personal inbox or email. And then I'm also going to include the tax example that I'm using for this training. So let's get started. Let's look at the W-4 form. At the very top, it tells you what the purpose is. The purpose is to withhold the correct federal income taxes from your paycheck. But I highlighted the most important piece, and that is consider completing a new Form W-4 each year and when your personal or financial situation changes. I don't know about you, no, but I know a lot of people who have only done their W-4 once when they first started a job, and that job, they could have started that job 10 years ago, and now they have 2 or 3 kids and they still haven't went back and adjusted their W-4. So maybe about 80% of people have um, errors on their W-4 form. So I hope this helps everybody that's watching. So let's get started. For this example, I'm going to be using, I'm going to use myself for an example when I was in corporate America. So for this example, I'm a single mom. I have one child. In this example, I'm going to use $65,000 a year as a salary. And I'm also going to say that I am a homeowner. You don't have to be a homeowner, but I'm going to say I'm a homeowner. And I pay about $9,600 in mortgage interest. Okay. So let's go back to the tax deduction sheet. Now let's go through this personal allowance worksheet. Okay, line A. It says enter one for yourself if no one else can claim you as a dependent. So I'm going to enter one for myself. Line B says enter one if you are single and have one job, if you are married and have one job, or let's say your spouse doesn't work, or your wages from a second job or your spouse's job is under $1,500. Okay, so for myself, I am single and I only have one job, so I'm gonna put one in line B. In line C, it says enter one for your spouse. Well, I don't have a spouse, so that will be 0. For line D, it says enter the number of dependents that you have. Well, I have a son, so I'm going to enter 1. I would enter 1 in line D. Then let's go to line E. It says enter 1 if you file as head of household on your tax returns, which means no one else can claim you on your taxes. So I'm going to put a 1. I will put a 1 next to line E. Let's go to line F. Line F says enter 1 if you have at least $2,000 in child or dependent care expenses. I don't have any expenses. My son is 14, so I'm not paying for daycare. But when he was, 4 or 5 years old, he was in daycare. And I remember paying like, something really expensive, inexpensive, like $75 a week. Well, that's about $3,600 a year. So if he was still in daycare, I would have been able to claim 1 for child care, expenses. So let's move on to line 6. Line G. Line G says child tax credit if your total income is less than $70,000. Well, in this example, I said that I am making $65,000 a year, so I'm going to meet that, okay? So I get to claim, I can enter 2 for each eligible child. Then subtract 1 if you have 2 to 4 children. So I'm going to enter 2 because I only have 1 child. But let's say I had 3 kids. Then that's going to be 2 times 3, which is 6. And then I'm going to subtract 1. So that'll be 5. Now, when you go to line H, you add up all of the numbers that you have from A through G. So in my case, I will be entering the number 6. So based on my number of dependents that I have, I could claim 6. Now, here's where it gets really good. Right here under H, it says the worksheets. If you plan to itemize or claim adjustments to income and you want to reduce your withholdings, see the deductions and adjustments worksheet on page 2. Okay, well, who can itemize? Who itemize on their taxes? It's usually people who have a home or people who have a home-based business or small business. Those are the people who can itemize. So if you didn't have a home-based business, you would basically only be allowed to claim the allowances that you enter between the letters A and G. Now, because you have a home-based business, you get to claim what we call business expenses. So what we're going to do is we're going to go on to page 2 of the W-4. And a lot of times, HR departments really don't give you much details about page 2, but I'm finna show you now. So, page 2, number 1, it says enter an estimate of your 2016 itemized deductions. And it says include your home mortgage insurance, charitable contributions, state and local taxes, medical expenses, and some miscellaneous deductions. Well, in this particular example, I said that I was a homeowner and that my homeowner interest was $9,600. So on line 1, I'm gonna put $9,600 for my home interest. Okay, I didn't make any charitable contributions, I didn't have any medical expenses, so I'm gonna do that. Number 2 says enter your standard deduction. So I am claiming head of household, so my standard deduction is $9,300. So in line 2, I'm going to write $9,300. Line 3 says subtract 2 from 1. So that's $9,600 from my home interest minus the 93. That's going to give me 600. So line 3 will have 600. Now for line 4, it says enter an estimate of your 2016 adjustments to your income and any additional standard deductions. That's where this comes into play, where I kind of talk about many of the deductions that you can have as a home-based business owner, from your business startup costs, being able to write off a percentage of your home mortgage and your utilities and your cell phone bills and car notes and transportation, advertising, any travel that you're going to do. So I'm going to go back to my example where I was using myself. Here's an example of what I consider my lifestyle. So you want to get a piece of paper out and you want to write out what you estimate. This is not exact. This is what you're estimating you are going to spend for 2017 for this example. So I'm saying that my mortgage is about $1,345 a month. Okay, so that's $16,000 a year. I have a 3-bedroom home, so one room is designated as a home office. So a third of my expenses of my home mortgage is going to be able to be written off. So that's $5,296. Okay, maybe you living in a 2-bedroom apartment and you using one of the rooms for your office. Then guess what? Half of your mortgage is going to be able to be written off. My utility bills adds up to, let's say, 7,200, and because I'm averaging about 600 a month, and I'm going to take a third of that because again I got 3 bedrooms, one room is for my office, so I'm taking a third of that. That's 2,400. My cell phone, you get to write all of it 100% off, is coming to about 1,380 because I'm paying about 115 a month. Your internet access, my car note, when I was paying a car note, it was about, I think, 509. So 509 times 12, that's over $6,000. Meals and entertainment, I spend about $250 a month, eating out, entertaining, and things like that. So that's about $1,500 a year. If I go to a training convention, and let's say I pay for the convention, got to pay for my hotel, my airfare, I'm just gonna say $669. My econ membership, my $34.95 that I'm paying every month, that's $419. Travel, let's say that I'm going to be traveling around the country, introducing people to my econ, or let's say this is represent a vacation that me and my family is having, but while I'm on vacation, I'm going to be networking and giving out my business cards and things like that. So I'm going to write off $1,200 there. And let's talk about advertising and promotion. I'm paying, let's say, $80 a month in the What's Happening magazine, or you're running newspaper ads, or you're going out and you're getting prints. You're printing out flyers and brochures and business cards. You're advertising online. You're buying Facebook ads, or you're advertising through pay-per-click advertising. Whatever that cost is for you, you enter it here. So I'm just going to say $1,200. Again, this is just an estimate of my lifestyle. The total comes to $21,780. Okay, so I am going to put that on line 4. So on line 4, I'm going to put $21,780. Okay, then line 5 says for me to add line 4 and line 3 together, and that's going to come to $22,380. Then we're going to go to line 6. It says enter an estimate of your non-wage income. I'm going to leave that at 0. Line 7 says subtract line 6 and line 5. Okay, which is still the same number because it was 0 for line 6. So that's $22,380. Line 8 says divide the amount from line 7 by $4,050 and enter the result, drop any fraction. So I'm going to go back to my taxes. I estimated that I was going to spend about $21,780 in expenses. I divided it by 4,000, but if you divide it by, the 4,050, that number comes to about 5.5. Drop the decimal point, and I'm just going to say 5. All right. So that means that I get to add 5 additional deductions to the number I had on the first page of my allowances. So once I divided that number, so on line 8, I'm going to put 5. On line 9, it says enter the number from the personal allowance worksheet, line H from page 1. So that's going to be 5 plus 6 from the first page. So on line 10, I can claim 11. All right. So when I go back to page 1, I'm taking the number from H, and I'm taking the number from page 2, and you're going to add them together, and this is where you're going to put it. On your W-4, where it says your employees withholding allowance certificate, line 5, I am going to enter 11. So whatever your number is, if it's 5, if it's 6, if it's 10, mine is 11. I've seen 14, I've seen 18. It depends on what your estimated expenses are. Now, don't lie about it and try to come up with some crazy numbers. Be specific. If you're going to spend that money, be honest about it, but you want to make sure that you're getting everything that you're supposed to have. So when you fill out this section, you're going to do your name, your address, your city, whether or not you're single, married, your social security number. You're going to enter your number allowances on line 5. Line 6, it says any additional amount you want withheld from your taxes. You're going to enter 0. Line 7 says write exempt. Now, do not ever write exempt on your taxes. You have to qualify to be able to claim an exemption. I know that there's people who will write exemption for 6 months so that they don't take no taxes out they check and then take that exemption off and then adjust them. That's illegal. So we're not doing that. We're giving you a legit business where you can claim legit personal lifestyle expenses, and we're not doing that. So never put exempt there unless you got a letter from the government that says you are exempt from all taxes. Because when you put exempt there, it does put a red flag on your file. Eventually, the IRS will come back and they will audit you. And I'm going to tell you, they'll wait 10 years and ask you about something you did 10 years ago. And next thing you know, you owing them all this type of interest and all this money back. So let's keep it 100. Okay, and that's pretty much what you do. Once you complete this section, you see at the top it says separate here and give the form W-4 to your employer. So you're going to cut this bottom piece